Sandy Says Read. Welcome to the channel. Today I am going to do a book tag that comes from, I think, the Library Association or from PBS. I'm not clear on it. Over at Morena's channel, she did this tag, and I'm going to put a link to her down below, and I'm also going to put a link to it's The Great American Read. I'm going to put a link to that down below because that's where this tag, I guess, originated. I swear that I usually film in the evenings, like at nighttime, well after work hours, and so I don't usually have light from that window over there and this window over here, like doing reflections off of my glasses. I don't think I will ever get the lighting right on this channel. My goodness. Okay, so I don't know what to do with the lighting. Okay, guys, I apologize now for the freaky lighting on my glasses. The reflection is just going to be what it's going to be. So let's dive in, okay? All right, there are, I think, 7 questions. Hang on, I've got it written down on a piece of paper. And I've seen some booktubers out there do these lists of questions from like their phones. They've got them on their phone and they just like read through and scroll through. And my phone is not that high tech. I have like spent very little amount of money on my phone, and I try to spend like very little amount of money on my phone service each month. So I've got like the lowest tech phone in the universe. Yeah, so I did it old school. I've got it written down on a piece of paper. My host enjoys the tactile sensation. Okay, so the Who Am I book tag. That's what this is. It's from The Great American Read. And the first question is, if your life were a book genre, what would it be? And I actually thought about this one before I started filming this, and I have so many options, so many choices. I think I should go with, it would be contemporary. Yeah, but that's kind of boring. I also thought it might be like thriller suspense because I never know what's going to be happening from day to day. And if I get one more freaking bruise on my body that I can't explain, I'm going to go with science fiction. Science fiction, because apparently I'm being abducted by aliens when I sleep at night, and it's getting a little old. Okay, the second question is, what villain from a book do you identify with the most? And I had a hard time, when I was thinking about this one, I had a hard time coming up with a villain that I identify with, because, you know, villains are always so very bad. Yeah, that's why they're villains. But I did think of one, and I don't know if I would call her a villain so much as she's just an antagonist. And she's from my own book, Abigail Ferrier. Now, we meet Abigail in book 1 in Choices Meant for Gods, but we really get to learn more about her in Choices Meant for Kings. In the second book in my series, Abigail develops more as a character, and we really get to see more of her. In the first book, Nigel, the main male character, and his best friend Henry go over to Belen, and they meet up with Abigail. They see her there. They don't meet up with her. It just happens that they run into her there, and the reader gets introduced to her, and she is just a little bit pathetic. And I don't want to say I'm pathetic, but I identify with her mindset. I identify with some of the background that Abby had to deal with. I had her move a lot in her past. We don't see that much in the book, in the stories. We just know of it. We learn of it. We hear of it. We don't actually go through it with her. She's not a main character. She does have some importance to the plot, obviously. And in the second book, we really get to see more of her, and we get to see more of her sort of villainy, I guess you would say, but more about her. And I just kind of feel sorry for her. And I think I identify with Abby in the way she pines for the main male character, in the way that she has built up this vision of Nigel in her mind, and the way she wants to be with Nigel. And I think that's as far as my identifying with her really goes. I would not go to the lengths that Abby goes to be with Nigel. I mean, I don't want to give away a whole lot, just in case anyone out there wants to read the series. I don't want to give away too much about Abby and what she does and what she tries to do to the main character. I don't want to go too much into that. And I also don't want to give the impression that Abby is a main character, because she's not. But I identify with her as an antagonist, and that's the answer to that question. Okay, the third question is, what protagonists are you most similar to? And I'm going to say I am most similar to J. Barrie Lee in the book Summer of the Monkeys by Wilson Rawls. Now, I don't have that book in my collection, so I can't hold it up to show you guys, but Wilson Rawls wrote Where the Red Fern Grows, and my teacher in 6th grade read that book to the class. He would read like snippets of it after our lunch recess, and the class loved it so much that we were like, you've got to find more books by this author. And the only other book by Wilson Rawls was Summer of the Monkeys. So he read that one to us next, and we really enjoyed it as well. Now here's the thing, I find myself most similar to the young boy in the story for a couple of reasons. One is the boy was just so tenacious and so focused on going after this goal. I mean, his goal was he wanted to make money by capturing all of these monkeys that had gotten away from, I think it was a circus train that had gone past their town or something. I don't remember it all now. This was in 6th grade, okay, when this story was read to me. It's been a little while ago. But he was very tenacious. I mean, he had that goal in mind. He was going to get these monkeys, he was going to get the reward money, and he was going to use the reward money to purchase a pony. He had in his mind the pony he wanted to get, and that's what he was going to do. And I think he also wanted to get a 22 shotgun, but he was after that pony. That was his goal. But he also had a sister. I think it was a twin sister, but his sister Daisy, she was crippled in one leg, and she needed an operation to fix her leg. And the boy, he was so focused on his goal that he didn't recognize that he could have used that reward money to pay for his sister's operation. And he was just so focused on that goal. I mean, he was just, tunnel vision. And I do that so often. I get that tunnel vision on, I've got some goal that I'm after, and just tunnel vision on it and focus in on it. And I do that so much. And I know that it's a characteristic of us humans to be self-centered. I can just be so infuriatingly self-centered that I don't recognize the things going on around me that I could be helping with. And it's like that kid in the story. And I have to remind myself to stop and see what's going on around me that I could assist with. Okay, question number 4 is, which book did you connect with in the past that you no longer really connect with? And I think I'm going to say Anne of Green Gables. And I don't know that it's that I no longer connect with it, but that now Anne is a little bit more obnoxious to me than she was when I read the story when I was younger. And she's just, she has that trait of speaking a lot. I mean, she just talks and 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 you get it, right? And I have found now that in going over those stories now, I just can't stand it. I start skimming. I admit it, I skim. I really enjoy the Emily Moon stories now more than the Anne of Green Gables stories. Okay, question number 5. What recent book read would you love to be a character in? So I'm thinking, what world, or what contemporary world or fantasy world? I don't know exactly what the question's referring to, but I'm going to make it my own. I don't know. I don't know what world I want to jump into from the recent books that I've read. And so I'm going to go with some time travel for myself. I would like to jump into this world. This is Kings of the Dark Moon, which is a Duran Duran book. Janine gave me this one for my birthday, so I've recently read this, and I use the term read quite loosely, because there's only like one page of reading in this, and the rest is just pictures. I'm going to say that it counts, and I'm going to say this is the world I would like to be in, because I don't just because there's no other one I can think of. But this would be awesome. This would be great. I mean, this is like from 1981 to 1983, the pictures are, or 1982. 81 to 83. Okay, so 81 to 83, great years for Duran Duran. Great years, as most of the years were. But I would love to have been like a fly on the wall in those years. But to actually be a character in the formation of Duran Duran in their early career, I dig that. And of course, if I'm going to do time travel and become a character in the Duran Duran book right here, then I have to solidify my answer for the first question in this tag as science fiction. The genre for my life would have to be science fiction, because here I am doing time travel as well as the alien abduction stuff. So, okay, question number 6 is, how do my reading habits reflect my personality? And I really don't know. I am a Gemini. I was born in middle of June. I don't put a whole lot of stock in, astrological stuff, but I do recognize that I have, maybe they're mood swings, but I do have kind of that dual personality thing where, sometimes I'm very introverted, sometimes I'm more of an extrovert, sometimes I'm very keen to just sit on the couch and read, sometimes I'm more keen to, be here on BookTube talking to you guys about the books that I've read. So I don't know if my reading habits really reflect, that, I don't want to call it a dual personality. I guess since I started my YouTube channel, I have been reading more. And I am very thankful for that. I am so glad that I found the BookTube community, and I have found this sort of new motivation for reading more. I'm really thankful for that, because I had sort of this dry spell where I was only reading like 2 or 3 books a year, which is really bad for me. I enjoy reading. I've always enjoyed it, and I've always found it, liberating to be able to just jump into another world with a writer and visit that world with them and their characters. I enjoy that. And in fact, I was in a relationship with a fellow for several years, and he would like mock me because I spent more time, at work and in my work life and in my own writing than I did reading. And he would mock me for that because, here I was, an English major and a person who did a lot of writing, yet I didn't do as much reading as he thought I should. And so he would, make fun of me for that. And so there was also this sense of guilt in not doing more reading. Obviously not a healthy relationship. Very glad to be out of that relationship. It was very strange. So being back into the reading groove is really good. So I don't know how, the new pattern of reading really reflects my personality. I do not know. So let's move on to the last question. Okay, the last question, number 7, is what book taught me something about myself? And this can be very negative, so I want to be cautious. I don't remember the name of the author, so maybe it's okay for me to just get harsh. Okay, guys, so here we go. I'm going to get harsh. I read a book called Vector, and I did look for the author's name rather recently when I was making a comment on another booktuber's channel, and I wanted to mention that book and the author, but I couldn't find the book, and I was thankful. There are several other books out there titled Vector, but they're not the one that I'm talking about. So yay. Hopefully the thing is out of print. Hopefully it's been destroyed completely. It was so bad and so horrible. The thing that I learned about myself in reading that book was that I have a low tolerance for hate speak. I have a low tolerance for people who are just fully entrenched in bigotry. I was so off-put by some of the characters and some of the language and some of the racial slurs. and I don't remember if they were racial slurs. Maybe they were just homophobic slurs in that novel. I was just horrified by it, and I couldn't read it. I DNF'd it because it was just so horrible. And I actually threw it in the trash. I didn't donate it to Goodwill. I didn't want it out there in the world. I threw it in the trash to get rid of it. And I learned about myself that I can't stand those types of just deeply ingrained bigotry stuff. And in fact, when I was writing my own series, I have a character in there who uses a slur toward some of the other characters, and I only use I created a word that is a slur, and I think I've only got the word in there like 2 or 3 times in the whole thing, but each time that it appears, I mean, it just makes me cringe, because it is a word that is meant to be a symbol of that character's bigotry. And I just hate it. And I've learned that about myself in reading Vector. I learned that I just can't take it, can't tolerate it. I won't deal with it if I just can't handle it. And that's what I learned about myself reading that. That's all 7 questions. I don't know a lot of booktubers personally, so I don't feel terribly comfortable just tagging people to do this tag as well. I might tag Irish Reader. I know I don't know you, sir, but you just seem so fun, and I think that you would have fun with this tag. So I'm going to tag Irish Reader, and I'll leave the questions below for folks. If you guys enjoyed this, hey, subscribe to the channel. I do other fun things here besides just go off on weird tangents. And I guess that's all for now. Thank you so much, guys.